shot, he scores!
And good morning from Canada Life Centre in downtown Winnipeg, where it's another Winnipeg Jets game day, and as you can see, a very sparsely attended optional morning skate. There were more players on the ice earlier. The Jets had a bit of a morning skate at 9:30, but once again, that was optional. We can tell you that Paul Stastny was not on the ice, so we'll see when head coach Paul Maurice meets the media a little bit later whether Paul Stastny will miss another game with that foot ailment from the game against the Islanders literally 1 week ago today, taking a puck off the foot there. Hi, everybody. Mitchell Clinton here with the JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. We already have adversity this morning because I have a hole in my sock, and I just noticed it about 5 minutes before we came to air. But we're going to deal with it and move forward. It's Canadian Armed Forces Appreciation Night here at Canada Life Centre. A chance for the organization and season seat holders, fans, really to show their gratitude to the Armed Forces members. Obviously, a couple of days ago was Remembrance Day. Hundreds of those Armed Forces members will be in the crowd here at Canada Life Centre. So I wanted to shout out my neighbors, Eddie, Caro, and their daughter, Ellie, who live just a couple doors down from where we live. Just wanted to say hi to them. We were celebrating Eddie's birthday last night. It's coming up on the weekend. Just want to say hi to them and thank you both for your service to our great country. It's going to be quite the tilt in downtown Winnipeg tonight. The Jets are coming off, obviously, the 4-1 win over the San Jose Sharks a couple nights ago, and they have points in 10 of their last 11 games. The Kings, meanwhile, they're on a run as well. They've won 7 consecutive games. In fact, the last team to beat the Los Angeles Kings, well, none other than the Winnipeg Jets. So buckle up for a good one here tonight at Canada Life Centre. A reminder, winnipegjets.com/tickets is the place to go if you want to see this one live tonight. We'll have all you need to get ready for the game with Jamie Thomas. He'll stop by from his post from 680 CJOB. He'll stop by here to discuss Pierre-Luc Dubois, Nate Schmidt, among other things, and that goes along with all the regular information like 50-50, your Jets Gear Save of the Game. But first, let's take a look back at the big win on Thursday against the San Jose Sharks with Game in 60. The first goal may have gone to the visitors, but the Winnipeg Jets rattled off 4 unanswered goals en route to a 4-1 victory over the San Jose Sharks on Thursday night. Pierre-Luc Dubois and Andrew Kopp each had 2 points on the night. Kyle Connor notched his team-leading 10th goal of the season and is now 3rd in the NHL in goals. Jansen Harkins potted his 2nd of the season as well, but the eventual game winner came off the stick of Nate Schmidt, his first goal as a member of the Jets.
Truthfully, I thought wheels tipped. It's awesome when those things come to fruition, right? When you talk about something before the game and it works out. So many times in hockey you talk about things and there's so many variables, right, that happen in the game. Mom and Dad were here tonight too, so first game in Winnipeg, and so I could hear my mom whistling.
Jamie Thomas joins us now on the JetsTV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. First off, thank you for joining us nice and early this morning. I know these 6 o'clock starts. They throw my routine off. I don't know about you, but...
Well, just means we're out earlier.
Fair enough.
So there's always a positive at the end, light at the end of the tunnel. The Jets have won a game. Let's find positive in everything.
Yeah, there we go. That's just a good way to go into the night.
Yeah.
But before we get there, obviously we got to talk about a lot of the characters that helped to the big win a couple of days ago. Pierre-Luc Dubois, one of them. 4 multi-point games so far this season. He's on a real solid run to start the season. What's kind of stood out to you about him?
Well, I think we've gone over this before, but you can't stop talking about it. It's just the chemistry that him and Kyle Connor have come up with. And now they've kind of brought Evgeny Svechnikov along for the ride as well, right? There wasn't a lot of production from Svechnikov there for a bit, but now the points are starting to pile up a little bit. But the one thing I like about Pierre-Luc Dubois, even from training camp on, it just seems something different about him. There's an aura of confidence around him, and man, when he puts one hand on the stick and starts barreling towards the net, you're just curious, like, how is this defenseman going to stop him? So the fact that Paul Maurice didn't realize this was going to be a combo to earlier part of the year, and now is kind of, I don't want to say stumbled upon it, but nice that came upon it is a great thing. But just the fun he's having right now and the way he's playing just says everything about what the Jets thought they were getting when they traded Patrick Laine and Jack Roslovic for him.
guys. I'm going to jump right in with an away from the game question. I'm sure we're going to cover the game in intensity. Adam Lowry was ranked number 1 on the Athletic Style Guide this morning. And I'm wondering, I'll throw this to you, Andrew, as a good bud / appreciator of fine style. What would you have to say about that and his looks his suit looks as a general rule?
I mean, I think a lot of the suits are really nice. He does it up pretty good. Good looking guy. I'm not a hat guy, so I think that's what kind of puts him over the top in terms of adding to that style. But he definitely makes it work.
So that's your new around here. But if you have any thoughts, you'd be willing to risk fire away.
I think he has just great taste and great style to it, and hat, like you said, I think makes him goes to the top.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Andrew, I'm curious about opportunity, and so if you're going down on a 2-on-1 with Jansen Harkins, and you could shoot or you could pass to him, what's the decision you make there? If it's, let's say it's 50-50, either one of you is going to score, like it's guaranteed one of you two to score. Do you pass to him, knowing that he has the opportunity, or do you rip the puck yourself?
I mean, that is one of the tougher questions I've been asked. I mean, I feel like on a 2-on-1, for me, like, you kind of look past, and so I would try and give it to him, especially if he's on his one-timer side.
Yeah, and I guess what I'm asking is, like, he's trying to break in or, make an impact. Or
I'm not trying to do it just because to tickle him. No, I would do it because it's the right play. Yeah, I don't think you're, especially in the middle of the game, you're not thinking about that, Like, you're thinking about, I mean, it's pretty cutthroat. Like, it's messed up to say, but, like, okay, maybe I won't say that. But I don't think that it's something that you think about mid-game, Like, if you're on a line together, you see an open passing lane, it could be to, my little brother, or it could be to, the guy in the street. It doesn't matter. Like, if it's the right play, it's the right play. So I think if you see the pass, you see that, as a backdoor one-timer type thing, that's a pretty good chance of going in. You pass it, and if the D-man's done a good job and, you just don't have the right lane, then you're trying to rip it.
Does the mentality change on an empty net? Like, say a guy's on a hat trick, or, if you saw Mark Scheifele right now doesn't have a goal yet, would you?
Would I try extra to give him the puck? Probably.
Yeah. So it's, I know
empty netters are a little different.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, because you're trying to you're not forcing anything that is going to risk the difference in the game. Like the one where I threw to Nicky in preseason, where, like, that was obviously, if that was regular season, I'm just putting it in the net. But I mean, if there's an opportunity to give the guy the puck, then you're gonna want to do that.
I know you didn't want to talk about it, but it is cutthroat, right? Like, they're your teammate, but you also don't want him creeping into your.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that at this point. Like, everyone's. Like, we're here to win, Like, it's not. That wasn't where I was going with that comment. But no, we're here to win, and I mean, you can assist, he gets a goal. What's the difference,
Andrew, I know we talked about the development of your game. I asked you something last time, and you said you basically have had this all along. But it seems like your vision is just ramped up around that. How do you work on your vision? How do you see it?
Well, I mean, it's not as easy as, like, working on your vision. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it. I mean, confidence is one. I mean, I've done, all the off-ice stuff in terms of developing that kind of thing. I don't want to share too much, but, developing that side off the ice. And then, change my stick around, change my line around. So there's a lot that goes into it. I think it's always been there. But I think it is being accentuated right now because of my ability to execute passes and how that's increased over my career, and then doing all the little things away from the rink is paying off.
When you talk about your stick, flex is the ninth pattern, like.
Well, that's
secret?
Those are secrets.
Okay.
Does Scheif still have total control over what your stick looks like?
Scheif has zero control over what my stick looks like.
Evgeny, I'm just wondering if I can ask you a couple of things. First of all, the opportunity here in Winnipeg. What was your sort of dream job if you're with the Winnipeg Jets? Because you're playing with Pierre-Luc Dubois, who's having a real comeback season, and you're playing with a guy who's got 10 goals right now. Is that sort of above what you would have thought you were at this point?
I didn't really have a dream job. I just want to come in and show what I can do and then kind of go with it, you know. I'm fortunate to be playing with Doobie and KC, and I think it's not easy, but you know, there's toughness to it, and you find a ways to bring every day and do what you can do. But I don't think too much. I just try to go out there and play hard as I can, and or either practice or the game. And I don't really have a dream job. Let's see it after the season. Maybe after that, and I'll think about.
What is the tough parts you talked about?
Little things, you know, mentally, and you know, some sort of pressure. You're playing in the first line or second line. Before I was different, you know, role and different team, obviously. So goes with that, and of course you want to produce every game. You're playing on that line, and but you know, every game, every day is different. So that way. But other than that, it's every day the same. So.
Even when you were in Detroit, did you feel like you had the tools to be a top 6 player?
I think so, yes. I think I had, since I was in juniors, I think I have the mindset of my game, the way I think, the way I play, the plays I make. I think I have a good shot, and I think I always thought that. So since I was in juniors, again, when I got to Detroit and even here, so.
Is it that much easier that you knew Doobie from before to find that chemistry?
Yes and no. It's like I know how to play hockey. It's not just because of him, but he helps a little bit, you know. The guy that I know, I play with him a little bit, so you know, he goes along with it. But it's not my first season.
Andrew, I wanted to ask, I've known you for a few years at this point in this context. We went dressing room access, then a year of Zooms, and now we're back in the room. What's gained by being in the same physical space like this?
I don't know. I mean, just human connection a little bit more. I think a little bit more. I don't know. You feel a little bit more of a relationship than you do with someone just over Zoom. So I don't know. I'm sure it's easier for you guys to feel how we feel and the look on our faces and our body language walking in here and everything like that. So I don't know if we gain as much from it as you guys do, but it's definitely nice to have you guys back in here, and more so as a way of the world getting back to normal.
Easier to answer like more complicated questions, or maybe throw a little bit of your personality and humor into things.
It's easier to say no to questions too sometimes, you know.
Now, Jenny, are you more comfortable now with the 14, 15-minute range that you've been playing in the last little while, say, compared to when it started? As I remember you had spoken about how, you know, the challenge was involved with your role at the start of the year after you got put up with Kyle and PLD.
Yeah, absolutely. It's totally two different games you're playing when you play 6 or 7 minutes a night, or you play 14, 15. It's two different games and two different players. I feel definitely more confident and comfortable as well. It's hard when you play 7 minutes. You're just trying to get yourself going at the game time. Pretty much you have no really control or then chance once you get feeling good, and then you're back to the you know, sitting and waiting. But right now you have a shift and you're back to the, you know, rhythm, and it helps a lot. So I feel great once you get to that pace, and of course you get you going. Anybody gets on the bench going, you know, it's good feeling, and it's you always have rhythm, and you bring in more, so it feels more comfortable.
Do you also feel more confident trying to make those skill plays that you talked
Absolutely,
about?
yeah. I feel more confidence, and I think I have a little bit more chance to make those plays. And even though if I turn over, I think I can keep going, you know, and still feel good about it and keep playing, making plays. So.
You talked about Detroit and how you didn't really get into, you know, the lack of opportunity there, I suppose. But do you feel like you have that now, and that you're taking advantage of that in the way that you would want to, or maybe you didn't get to in Detroit?
I think so. Absolutely. Even though I'm not gonna go too deep about it, I had chances in Detroit. It's not like I never had it. I had chances and probably maybe a little bit different ways. But yeah, I definitely feel like I'm getting it.
Andrew, if I could just ask you one quick question here. The swings that go from game to game in the face-off dot, I think last week it was one game where you went 12-7, and then the next game 6-11, or was the other way around? Like, are those defensive zone? You had more defensive zones in the game before, or how do you handle those swings when it, you've had a good night and then a night when it hasn't gone the way you wanted?
Yeah, a lot of it depends on just who you're going against, and just kind of finding a rhythm against that guy. Like, I think you saw in the St. Louis game, going against two pretty good players and kind of figured out how to beat them. And last game, I just got like my lunch money taken from me, just absolutely shoved in a locker. So, yeah, I think it kind of depends like on who I'm going against, and just kind of finding that something that works, I guess, and then trying to adjust when they adjust. But I've been pretty good this year, honestly, and I think that I need to figure out maybe a little bit of the adjustment, especially last game. But then you're going against three different guys, so then you're trying to make adjustments, but then you're making adjustments into things that you don't usually do, and then that's making you worse. So it's you don't want to overthink it at the same time. So yeah, that'll be hopefully a bounce back night tonight.
What do you think of the fellow next to you? Like, did you know much about Evgeny beforehand? The skill was there, yeah. And
well, he lived with Larks for a summer, so
okay.
we spent some time together and we skated together and stuff. So yeah, you see in the summer his skill level is very high, and then has the work ethic and the grinding mentality to go along with that to kind of do whatever it takes. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all that he's taking his opportunity and run with it.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, buddy.
Talk offense on this show, but defensively, the Jets have been pretty sound since the run of points in 10 of 11 games has started. What's been behind that?
Well, not giving up more than 3 goals. That's the incredible part, right? It's, you go to the beginning part of the year, the first 2 games, give up a ton of goals, but right now they are locking it down, and just some key physicality. Adam Lowry, of course, a big part of that. And against San Jose the other night, you were wondering after the first period, did the Sharks kind of have the Jets' number? And then Logan Stanley steps up. Did Brendan Dillon, for whatever reason, I don't know what the Sharks did to Brendan Dillon, but he does not care that he used to be a San Jose Shark. He is absolutely blasted about 4 or 5 former teammates in his time as a Winnipeg Jet. But so he's been great. And those off the rush chances that the Jets gave up a lot of over the past couple of years, those have completely disappeared. Now, I know they give up the odd occasional one, but they're not as prevalent as they were before. Now, the pressure that they put on the other team's defensemen, especially against the St. Louis Blues, was one thing that kind of stood out to me. And then we cannot walk out of here feeling good about ourselves until we talk about the goaltending, right? Eric Comrie's been tremendous. And you look at that one goal that Connor Hellebuck gave up, the stinker through the pads, and you're like, oh boy. And he talked about trying to get that feeling back. Well, after that, it's been pretty good. So it's goaltending, not giving shots off the rush, and of course keeping the puck at the other end, and some key hits here and there. And the Jets are playing very well defensively right now, and a reason why they're moving up in the standings.
Let's combine offense and defense then and talk about Nate Schmidt. Big first goal as a Jet the other night, and you'll want to check the Jets social media channels for a cool little video that was posted. So big
Instagram guy? Is that what?
Big Instagram guy.
You're watching that video and you're like, what is this?
I know.
I can't take my eyes off this video at all.
I remember when it was brought up in like a meeting in the offseason as we were preparing. And Caleb Snyder, the guy that put it together, was trying to explain how it was, and I thought I got it. Yeah. And then, but to see it actually come together was really cool. So check that out on the Jets social media channels. But for Nate Schmidt, big first goal as a Jet the other night, as we said, led the Jets a nice time. Parents in the crowd. I mean, what a night.
Yeah, and for Nate Schmidt, go back to last year against the Vancouver Canucks, just didn't seem to fit in. And I think a lot of that played in the fact that is he an offensive or defensive defenseman? And he played with Alex Edler on the top defense pairing, shutting down the other team's best, which, he has the capability of doing. But all of a sudden the points are coming. And probably a reason for that is, you're playing with Josh Morrissey on the 1A or 1B power play unit. And those assists are starting to pop. I think he's at 10 points now. That's what he had all of last year as a member of the Vancouver Canucks. So he's fit in here right away. And I think it's just more than fitting in on the ice. It's fitting in the dressing room. And anytime somebody talks about Nate Schmidt, and I'm talking about any one of his teammates or Paul Maurice, you see a smile come on their face. And I still go back to training camp when when he said, I got to peel back the layers of the onion on Josh Morrissey.
fantastic
I'm
quote.
like, this guy can be here forever. And just everything he does, he looks good. And I think that's because of the pairing with Josh Morrissey. They know where each other are. And this has kind of trickled down to Josh Morrissey. I know we talked about him the other day, but he feels more confident to go up the ice. He feels there's a better defenseman beside him, and this is no knock to Tucker Pullman or anybody else that has played with Josh Morrissey over the couple of years.
And Svechnikov, did you know much about, like, with Svechnikov, your boss tells you we're looking at this guy. What did you know about him? How much input do you have about him, and what has surprised you about him?
So I would have none about a player that I don't know. If it's in season and you're thinking about bringing a guy that's going to come into your lineup, for sure you'll watch a bunch of video on it and then give your opinion on how that fits or how you would use him. That would be my input on a guy. For a player from the outside that I think he had 41 games coming into us that wouldn't have a lot of NHL games, you would defer to your pro scouts, and if they thought there was, our scouting staff does a nice job here, so if they thought there was something there, you'd be all for it, especially in camp, because he'll earn what he gets after that, right? He comes in, he had a heck of a camp, and he earned a spot.
Playing with a guy that's a center iceman that's having a bounce back season, a guy that's got 10 goals, and what has he added to that trio that's making him click right now?
So there's some things that he does. I think he's a smart defensive player without the puck, which is important. I've always felt that Pierre-Luc was very good in his own end and low. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes there, and he doesn't, from that hash marks down to the boards, he's pretty strong down there in his decision making. I think sometimes it's the connection on the bench and the mood that a player creates in a line sometimes as much as what they do on the ice, right? So those three guys are talking all the time. And that's a good thing for chemistry building. How he relates to the offense they drive, I think with that line, there's more. They can do more. And Svech will be a big part of that. They need a net driver. They need a net presence guy, because Kyle and Pierre-Luc can hang on to the puck and use their speed, and Pierre-Luc his size to control pucks. So I think there's more with that line, and Svech will have a big hand in that, kind of getting to the next level.
He would be, that might be considered your top line. You can argue that. But, does he have a leash? You know what I'm saying? You could easily put Nick there or Blake or whoever.
Right.
And what is his threshold of maybe mistakes or whatever before you would move him?
So he's cut down on those, right? There were more early. And then with the players that we had out of our lineup, there weren't a lot of options to move things around. And KC and Doobie were going, so you just kind of left it. So first would be on a line like that is then elimination of some mistakes, and I think he's at that point. And then there's going to have to be something more that happens, right? It can't be, because you're right. You can play a lot of different people there, and I think that may happen. We're going to try different people there at that point, but there's no urgency to do it even in a game. If he makes a couple of mistakes, I'm not going to break that lineup over a bad period, right? Because they're going, and we'll work on the mistakes. And you do have to develop players in those roles sometimes. You just keep working with them. But there's lots of other guys in the lineup. Vesalainen would be a guy that you consider. Harkins now that gets a little chance to play on the right side. The longer Harks plays on the right side, the more of an option he is for any right side position, because he gets some experience there. And we'll just kind of do what's, kind of feels best for the Jets. If that line falls off, then you're going to look to do something to get it going.
I'm going to ask you, if you would have had a conversation with him in training camp, and he hasn't really talked about Detroit, but he did mention that he had opportunity, and that would, reading between the lines, potentially didn't take advantage of it. But during your conversation, first one with him, what would you have talked about with him that you could share?
So early, I would just watch. And then just check in with how a guy's doing. How you doing? Do you feel comfortable here? Are you picking up what we're teaching? And he's an exceptionally positive guy, right? Very, very polite, very, very positive guy. Funny guy, got a good sense of humor. We've talked about two things probably specifically to him. One of them is be careful with the idea that because you're playing with two skilled players, you have to match that skill to be good on that line. So pucks brought back and into the middle of the ice that shouldn't go into the middle of the ice because you're trying to get it to those two guys. So that has to get eliminated. And then back to the earlier answer, you also then have to add something to the line, and puck control and net front. So driving the net, which he does on the goal, which he didn't do the night on the penalty that he took on the pass in that we lost to the Islanders, right? Takes a penalty, nobody's going to the net on that play. So that's a real positive. So we see some, okay, he's getting it and he's starting to drive the net. I think he's got to control the puck more in the offensive zone, but I mean, that's a blanket statement of all our forwards. We want that from all of them. And then more time net front. We have a fairly high neutral zone turnover rate, which I'm still reasonably comfortable with. I don't mind that. As long as we're doing it with speed, I'm okay with that. The turnover rates in the offensive zone and the turnover rates in the defensive zone are the kind of the first tells for me we got to look at something. So control the puck in the offensive zone when you have it, and quit trying to, and don't try to force talent when talent isn't needed.
Just last one for me on that. He's got a bit of piss and vinegar to him, I suppose. Do you like that?
Yes.
Because, like, he's the type where, I don't know if he's the type, but he kind of, there was a time when he took a penalty and he gets pretty frustrated and lashes out, I suppose is the word. But are you okay with that?
Yeah, I haven't felt that as a trend out of his game at all. It happens once or twice, and personality is a really, really difficult thing to measure, but an exceptionally important thing in your locker room. And I would say that Nate Schmidt would be an example of the value of that to your room. So Svet's got a lot of personality. There's stuff there. We did a drill yesterday, and he scored 3 times on it. We've run that drill maybe quite often for the last 8 years, and nobody ever has. So it's the first triple that we ever had, and hopefully it continues tonight. So there's something there.
Paul, you said, I don't think I'm misquoting you, but I think in previous conversations you've said when you've moved Nick from the right to the left, it's been because there's the matchup you want, or there's been situations. Yeah. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I've moved Nick left and right over time, and some of it is how the other team forechecks.
Right. So sorry.
That wasn't the impetus for the change.
Yeah. What is it that? So what is it that makes this change right here then?
I didn't. I don't want to answer that question honestly. Just trying to put some guys together.
In Svechnikov's case, is there room for sort of cultivating that confidence or that belonging in him that he's going to, hold on to the puck and do those sorts of things? Or does a guy at the NHL level have to arrive with a certain amount of swagger?
I don't think that there's you'd like to think there's a place for a coach in that. And I would relate it to a goal scorer who's not scoring. So you say a bunch of nice things to him, but he's not getting confidence until one goes across that line, right? At the end of the day, and I don't care if it's an empty net goal, and I've seen that, a guy on the snide pumps one in on the empty net and goes on a tear. So we will reinforce all the good things of his Svech that we see in his game when he's doing the stuff, and hopefully he feels positive reinforcement from his linemen. So this is what you can do, and then he'll just continue and do it. But there has to be enough volume there for you not to be lying to the guy, right? Hey, that was a great shift. Nothing terrible happened. There's not a lot of weight to that compliment, right? So it has to be experiential. They have to have success to do it.
Are you happy with 1.5 then from him, like in terms of production? Like, he doesn't have the 20 points that Kyle Connor has, but is that enough to keep him on a top line with all the other tangibles?
Okay, so the answer is yes and no. The answer is absolutely yes if the other two guys stay at their rate, and you don't feel that he's either keeping them from getting more, and then the answer is no. At some point you have to. But I would never see him walk into a rink. I don't know what he wears. And then I would not be the judge of that, because if the tie and the socks and the suit aren't slightly pinned together for me, granimals. Isn't it they used to call that granimals, where there was a label on everything, so that these things you get. That's how old I am. Yeah, I need labels. I'm not the guy to talk about close false. Yes,
And the same lineup tonight?
correct.
Okay,
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Okay, probably ask about that.
All right, there's a lot there. If you want to watch any of those availabilities again, head to winnipegjets.com, also on the team's social media channels. But this was also probably the fastest version of the Jets TV Live pregame show I've ever seen in terms of players being available and head coach Paul Maurice. But we still have more to get to, so let's get to those real quickly. Starting with the save of the game. Jets fans, tonight's save of the game, the 2019 Heritage Classic Team Cuffed Palm Knit is only $16.99 each. Regularly priced at $37.99. Available at any of our Jets gear booths located throughout the concourse. That's 2019 Heritage Classic Team Cuffed Palm Knits for only $16.99 each. Jets gear, the official team store of the Winnipeg Jets. And registration is underway for the inaugural Ducky Pond Hockey Classic, which goes from January 13th to 16th out at Camp Manitou. There's an open division and a women's division capped at 72 teams. You win your division and you head to the World Pond Hockey Classic in Plaster Rock, New Brunswick next year. If that all doesn't sound good enough, there will be entertainment, viewing party of the Jets game on Saturday, food trucks, and much more, with proceeds going to a number of charities such as Howard Chuck Strong and the True North Youth Foundation. To register or for more info, head to duckypondclassic.ca. Just a reminder that the In the Plaza events will continue. There wasn't one due to weather concerns a couple days ago, but they're back today. And as you can see, there's lots of entertainment there. There's food, my favorite part personally, and drinks and friends. And you don't even need a ticket really to get to come to these. You just need to be able to provide proof of vaccination. That's what gets you in, and you can hang out with those cool people and watch all the entertainment, including hot stoves. All the details, head to truenorthsquare.com/intheplaza. All right, picture this. You're sitting around with your friends at an establishment, perhaps the Exchange Restaurant, might I suggest, or even at In the Plaza. And you're talking about the Jets. One of your friends says the pronunciation of a player's name incorrectly. You jump in, your friend doesn't back down. Is it Toninato? Is it Toninato? Jets TV is here to solve absolutely everything. Here's how to say every player's name from the players themselves.
What's this for? How's the lettuce? Adam. Neil Pionk.
Eric Comrie.
Evgeny Svechnikov.
Christian Vesalainen.
Pierre-Luc Dubois.
Nikolai Ehlers.
Riley Nash. Dylan DeMello.
Brendan Dillon.
Dylan DeMello. Neil Pionk.
Blake Wheeler.
Jansen Harkins.
Nathan Bolio. Adam Lowry.
Paul Stasny. Andrew Kopp. Mark Scheifler.
Nate Schmidt.
Josh Morrissey.
Logan Stanley.
Kyle Connor.
Connor Hellebuck.
Kyle Connor.
Hellebuck.
Dylan Sandberg.
They're not cleaning their own end, and Toninato.
Dominic Toninato.
What a move by Dominic Toninato!
Hi, this is Neil Pionk, and you're watching Jets TV Live, presented by Budweiser.
All right, quickly, let's slide right into the matchup board. It's going to be quite the tilt tonight at Canada Life Centre between the Jets and the Kings. A surging Kings squad and a Jets team that keeps adding layers to their game. Los Angeles comes in after a 2-0 shutout win over Ottawa. The Jets' power play is 9th in the National Hockey League, and the team's gone a bit cold in the last 3 games. But as we've seen earlier this season, all they need is 1 to go, and they can rattle off a number of games in a row with some success. The Kings' power play went 1 for 2 against Ottawa and is 17th in the National Hockey League. Jets penalty kill, currently 30th in the NHL. Meanwhile, Los Angeles just above that at 27th. And in terms of shot attempt percentage, the Jets are 7th in the National Hockey League with that 52.7% mark, while the Kings not far behind in 12th. Same lineup for the Winnipeg Jets tonight as we look at the projected lines. This was from practice yesterday as well as the very end of the game against the San Jose Sharks. Obviously, the one line that Paul Maurice didn't touch when he did the line shuffling was Connor Dubois, Svechnikov, and why would you? Kopp, Lowry, Harkins was also a trio that paid off immediately. Ehlers, Scheifele, Wheeler. Nikolai Ehlers has been a little bit under the weather. He says he feels good. Scheifele and Wheeler are both getting chances. It's bound to go for both of them. Blake Wheeler was basically a snipe show at the optional morning skate today. Morrissey, Schmidt, Dylan Pionk, Stanley DeMello. Now, I mentioned Josh Morrissey. We came close on the player to watch a couple nights ago, I do have to say. Christian Vesalainen hit a post. He had another real good chance. Tonight, the player to watch, insert drum roll here, number 44, Josh Morrissey. Okay, maybe not my most bold prediction considering he leads the team in power play goals, but yesterday in practice, Morrissey was pretty much unstoppable. A couple of runs through the power play as well. One-timer looked solid, went bar down a couple times. Josh Morrissey is your player to watch. Jets fans also, the other thing you want to make sure you do before the game tonight is check in to win. Powered by Skip the Dishes. You could win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Jets rivalry game. Plus, you can win additional prizes by playing a variety of exciting interactive games like Codebreaker, powered by Skip the Dishes, Jets IQ, and the Over-Under Challenge presented by Betway. If you don't have the Jets app, visit winnipegjets.com/app. Join the fun and check in to win now. November is also Hockey Fights Cancer Month. We want you to join the fight. You can support by buying a warm-up jersey raffle ticket, purchasing a mystery puck or mini stick, or by making a cash donation by visiting winnipegjets.com/hockeyfightscancer. All proceeds raised will be donated directly to Cancer Care Manitoba, going to support children and youth in their fight against cancer. Help hockey fight cancer today. And because it's after 9:30 a.m. on a game day, now is the time to buy your tickets for the Winnipeg Jets 50-50, presented by PlayNow.com. Buy yours online before the end of the third period of today's game to be included in the draw. The winner will take home half the jackpot, with all proceeds in support of the True North Youth Foundation. Buy your 50-50 tickets now at winnipegjets.com/5050. That's winnipegjets.com/5050. And of course, the Winnipeg Jets Gala Dinner, presented by Scotiabank, coming up on December 1st. The annual event is also in support of the True North Youth Foundation and its mission to empower the potential in Manitoba youth through its 3 core programs, that being the Winnipeg Jets Hockey Academy, Project 11, and Camp Manitou. The evening on December 1st is going to have exclusive player content, fireside chats. There's a whole lot of things coming down the pipeline, so you're going to want to get your tickets. To purchase your gift boxes for the Winnipeg Jets 2021 Virtual Gala, please email jetsgala@tnse.com or visit tnyf.ca/gala for more information. And finally, episode 117 of the Ground Control Podcast. We mentioned Nikolai Ehlers a little bit earlier. He sat down to talk the great trade acquisitions he's able to make in warm-up, whether it's candy for pucks or candy for sticks, when he actually gets to eat the candy. We talked a lot about candy. Let's just leave it at that. You can get Ground Control wherever you get your podcasts: Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, let alone being able to go to winnipegjets.com and see that as well. Thanks for joining us on this expedited edition of the Jets TV Live pregame show presented by Budweiser. I'm Mitchell Clinton. We'll see you tonight after the game for the Jets TV Live postgame show, also presented by Budweiser. We'll talk to you then.